So we've been in John's Gospel for the last little while at Mustard Seed, reading the scriptures, and we're coming up to the high priestly prayer in John's Gospel chapter 17, and there's an interesting section there from verse 6 through to verse 19, which is the lectionary reading for the coming Sunday. And in that passage, it's rather convoluted language, but it addresses the way in which Jesus' disciples were formed in the Jewish tradition. They belonged to the Father, and the Father gave them to Jesus, so they became Jesus' disciples. And then in due course they came to the conviction that everything Jesus had been given had come from the Father. So there's this transfer of conviction from their old ways to Jesus' ways, which is not immediately self-evident if you're a disciple, because Jesus' ways were quite different to the old ways, and even though he was a fairly compelling presence, it would have been fairly easy to construe it as Jesus' ways being the ways of the devil, as indeed a number of the Jewish authorities of the time did construe things. So it's just an interesting thing to observe the way Jesus is fully aware that these people, they come from a tradition that forms them in a very particular way. As they hang out with Jesus, they observe him and see that he's quite different, and then they come to a place of conviction about the fact that Jesus is from the Father and is a legit expression of Messiah. And then Jesus is praying this prayer that he will be glorified, and even that is such an inverted notion when Jesus prays it, because when we think about glory, we usually think about someone being hailed as famous, paparazzi taking photos, maybe getting the Academy Award. That's the kind of glory. And Jesus is talking about his crucifixion, which is an act of utter rejection, pain and death. Now, if that's your idea of glory, maybe you could keep it. But the reality is, the glory here is that Jesus has an uncompromising love for the people. And it is a glorious thing because it's so uncompromising that he's not even going to stop when he's threatened with death. And he prays for his followers that they would likewise be held faithful in the midst of the challenge of being his people in a world that rejects his way. It's a big ask, it's a big task, it's a big challenge. But that's what we're going to be talking about at Mustard Seed this coming Sunday. How good was it to be together with the crew this last Sunday, where we had to wear masks and not sing, but it was still good. Good bunch of people, good conversation. We shared afterwards, had a cuppa on the green, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully it'll be better Sundays coming on, although I hear these restrictions are being extended, so I'll keep you posted with regard to what we're allowed to do regarding masks and singing and so forth. But it'll be a good Sunday nonetheless. Come along, we're having a great conversation. People are really enthusiastic, being encouraged and very encouraging, and we'd love you to join with us. God bless.